It is Friday morning. It is 4:30 a.m. and I'm knackered. No, we've been getting up at 4 every day this week to get a really nice 3-hour work blocking before the girls get up in the morning. This one's a little bit different because I'm going to do a quick hour of work now, and then I'm meeting one of my clients, Ryan, for a back and arm workout at his gym down the road. So I'm going to do a bit of work now. We're going to go meet him for that and then come back, and I'm going to talk you through what happened in week 5 of the shred and where we're sitting currently as of recording, 2 days away from finishing the whole thing. So I'm going to have one of these, maybe a second, get some work done, get some programs, training plan updates done, and we're going to go from there. Oh, fucking hell, it's still too hot. Oh, I've just burnt the roof of my mouth. Brilliant. So this has been my routine now for the past week or two, and it is literally get up at 4 o'clock, do a good few hours of work. Obviously this morning's a bit different because I'm meeting Ryan at 6 for a session, then it'll be walk Baloo around 8 o'clock. I'll sort of help Sophie get Lilo up at about 7, play with Lilo for a bit, spend a bit of time with her, Sophie will get herself ready, and then I'll walk the dog at about 8 o'clock-ish for an hour, and then it's back working till lunch, then it's breaking off for a bit of lunch around 12-1-ish, and then I might try to go to the gym around that point, and then it's back working again till sort of anywhere from sort of 2 p.m. to 5 p.m, breaking off to walk the dog again, then it's relaxing in the evening from about 6 till 8-ish, having a bit of food, spending some time with Lilo, spending some time with Soph, chilling out, and then when they go to bed at around sort of 9 o'clock, I back on the laptop until about 10:30, 11 to get some more work done before then going to bed, obviously until about 4 the next morning. So yeah, not a lot of time at the minute for anything really, not a lot of sleep, not a lot of energy, which is why I had a strong black coffee this morning, but it's needs must. Like, I think this is the thing when people kind of say they don't have time for things. I think in some cases that is true, in very, very rare cases, but I think a lot of the time, knowing what I'm having to do at the minute just to get my workouts in, to get my steps in, and the fact that I'm able to still track my food and hit these dieting targets alongside everything going on, I think a lot of the time it is just laziness, which sounds harsh, but I think it is true. Laziness in some people, poor time management, I think is a big one, or it's just not important enough to them, and that's okay. Like that's not a criticism. Like, it's just not important to them. Whatever that goal is, whether it's dropping some body fat, getting in shape, building some muscle, it's just not important enough for them to get up a little bit earlier, to do stuff a little bit later, to move the schedule around to work things in. And that doesn't make them a bad person. That doesn't, it's not a fault. It just means that at that time, at that stage of their life, with what they've got going on, it's not a priority. And that's cool, but I think you just need to accept that at some point and stop trying to flog a dead horse, as they say. Anyway, we're about here at the gym, so I'm gonna jump in, meet Ryan, and we are on with back and biceps, I do believe. does for my ego does training with Ryan, because he's about twice the size of me and twice as strong. But it's something to push for, innit? Motivating. Whoa. Right, home time. Oats, first oat bowl of the day, which I cannot wait for. And then help sort Lilo out for the morning while Sophie goes to the gym herself. Podcast going down. Look at that. We're iPhone DJI. We're vlogging the fact that we're podcasting. I don't know. It seems quite sort of what's that film? The sleep film. Inception.
Oh, Inception.
Like, it's like vlogception. It's like vlogception going down. Right, let's get another one done. All right, welcome back for another episode again. Fish and a rice cake.
Fish and a rice cake.
Yep, I'm Jake. He's Jake.
I'm Jake. Yes, I am. I believe Jacob. If you want to call me Jacob, but Jake.
Jacob. See, I'm not. I'm just Jake. Technically, David, but
just Jake. When I used to work in a gym, I used to get called Just Jake because someone asked me in the gym, what do you want to be called?
Yeah.
And I was like, Just Jake. They were like,
all right, Just Jake.
Yeah, and literally for the next fucking 5 years, everyone called me Just Jake. I was like, no, I mean literally just Jake. Do you know?
Brilliant. I love. That's the kind of sense of humour that I absolutely love. Like just so like dry and sarcastic. Okay, so it is lunchtime and the podcast is done. We've got 2 episodes boxed off that'll go out over the next couple of weeks. And I am about to make my, you could say famous, Proats, or protein oats to normal people. And I say famous because I literally have this bowl twice a day, every single day, and I will put it on my stories at least once every single day. Now, quite rightly, you might be wondering why I'm filming how I make a bowl of oats. Because, yeah, it's pretty straightforward stuff. There's not going to be anything groundbreaking here, but I do get asked all the time. Like when I put it on my stories, I'll get once or twice a week, I'll get people ask, what are the ingredients? How do you make it? How do you do them? I want to give them a go. So I thought it'll fill a couple of minutes of this. I'll make my oats. And then that way, whenever anyone comes to ask, I can just send them to this video. First thing first, unsurprisingly, we need the oats. So I normally go on a morning when I'm dieting, I'll have 75 grams of these with my bowl of oats. On an afternoon when I have it again, I'll only have 50. Just 50 grams of oats, you can't see right now, but I've got the pan here on the scales here. And then we are going in with some chocolate protein powder because like I said before, I do find that just keeping flavours of protein powder simple is the best way forward. Otherwise it just gets really sickly. And I do 40 grams with each bowl of oats that I have. So 80 grams of protein powder total a day. Now I'm having 200 grams of protein a day total. So about 70-ish grams of protein from that is coming from protein powder. And the rest is going to be obviously from meats, single ingredient whole foods. So once we've got everything in the pan, super simple, I'm just going to put some water in it. I don't use milk because at the minute, I don't really have the calories for it. I'm obviously quite low on calories and I don't really think it adds that much to oats and I actually quite like it with water because you've got the thickness and the taste from the powder. You don't really need milk in it. So add in a bit of water just so it covers the top layer of the oats and the protein. This is riveting stuff, I know. And then I literally heat it on the hob until it goes quite stodgy and thick. Now I always get asked why I have oats so often. If there's anything special about them when it comes to fat loss or dieting or helping me get lean or anything like that. And there literally isn't. Like the only reason I have this twice a day is because I genuinely just really look forward to it every single time. It's like 1 meal or 2 meals of the day where I will always look forward to it. And it just gives me something to push towards. Like I know if I've got my bowl of oats coming in the afternoon and I'm hungry through the day, I can kind of push through it a little bit because I'm like, well, I've got that to look forward to. So it just breaks the day up quite nicely for me when I'm dieting because the rest of my meals, as you've seen before, they are pretty dull. They are mince or chicken with a load of salad or veg, and that's pretty much it. There's not a lot going on. This is like the little bit of enjoyment for the day. I've literally had this bowl of oats every single morning and every afternoon. I would say for like 3 or 4 years now, whether I'm dieting, whether I'm in a gaining phase, the only thing that changes is the amount that I actually put in. So at the minute, like I said, it's 75 grams, 50 grams. When I'm gaining, it might be 100 grams of oats, 125 grams of oats. Why wouldn't you want to make dieting and getting leaner easier and more enjoyable if you can? I don't see why you wouldn't want to do that. I mean, it looks lovely, doesn't it? It definitely doesn't look like a big pan of sick or something like that, or diarrhea or something like that. But that is just starting to stodge up now quite nicely, so we just got to keep moving it around. And because I normally get asked in terms of protein and calories, this normally comes out, this bowl of oats comes out at around sort of 500-600 calories. That's the other thing as well, like this genuinely fills me up. I can have this on a morning at like 4-5 a.m. and then I don't eat again until like 1 p.m. Like it fills me up for the full morning. So really, really useful from a dieting standpoint for that. I am really scraping the bottom of the barrel for vlog content here, aren't I? Right, once that is all done then, I will literally just leave it to sit for a second to cool off. And we need the secret ingredient, which is this. Some dark chocolate. No particular preference. This is nice. I also get Lindt a lot. I also get the Montezuma, which I showed you in the video last week, which is my favourite one. But I'm out of that at the minute. 1 square of dark chocolate, and I'll put it on when the oats are still hot because then it melts over the top of the oats. So literally just 1 square of dark chocolate. I don't weigh the square out anymore. And then so that's in the bowl, and then literally I will just put the square of dark chocolate on the top of it. Got some on my finger. Literally sits on top, just like that. And then I will literally just let that melt for a little bit before then putting it in the fridge for a couple of hours. Because then once it goes in the fridge, it sets quite hard and stodgy, which is so much nicer. So I'm going to leave that to set. I'm going to do the physique update for the week, and then I'm going to come back and enjoy that later on. Okay, so week 5 of this Softer Shredded challenge is all done and ticked off. I'm currently now about halfway into week 6, so I'm only literally a few days away from finishing the full 6-week diet. But we're going to go through what happened in week 5, what progress was made, and as we always do, what the differences in those photos are. So, week 5, as I said in last week's vlog, Monday of week 5 was at a family funeral. So I didn't track for the day. Obviously, like I said last week, some things are just more important, right, than getting lean, than fitness and dieting and fat loss. Some things take priority. And so for that day, I just took the day to be with my family and everything like that. The rest of the week was absolutely normal and as planned. So I came in on Tuesday, 1900, just under the 2000. My average protein was just under that 200 a day, so 197, pretty much there. I'm not going to lose any sleep over 3 grams of protein on average. I've come in under my calories for last week, just slightly. And you can see that weight is down by about half a kilo across the week. I actually had a really, really big drop on the Saturday, but obviously when I do my refeeds on the weekend, I always expect my scale weight to go back up. So my lowest weighing of the week was at 68.6, which was a full 0.8 kilos down from the previous week, and from the previous Saturday we're about 0.6 of a kilo down. The average loss then 0.8 kilos, which again for a week, 0.8 kilos in a week, to be 5 weeks into this diet, having not changed a single thing, bar an increase in steps and a little bit of cardio, but this is absolutely minimal. To still be losing, 1% of body weight a week is, I would say, pretty good going, and I'm more than happy with that, and it's why I've not made things harder as the weeks have gone on, because I'm losing body fat at the rate I would want to lose it. So there's no need to make things harder. So as the week went on, I dropped nicely to the 68.6. And then obviously, as I did the refeeds over the weekend, as always, weight came back up. My steps then did come in under the average because of the first couple of days, like I spoke about last week. The start of last week, 1,500 steps under on the average. And I managed to get my cardio boxed off last minute at the end of the week there. So not a perfect week by any stretch. Like I said in the previous vlog, probably the most inconsistent I've been at the start of a week in any big diet I've ever done. But it just goes to show that as long as you don't let it affect your mindset, as long as you don't let it affect that entire week, you can just crack on as normal and you can still see some really nice progress across the week. So it would be nice to see sort of a mid-68 average by the end of next week. I'm expecting to see something like a 68.7, a 68.8, something like that by the end of the week, but we'll wait and see what happens on that front. And that'll be in the last vlog of this series next week. In terms of the photos then for this week, I'm really happy with the changes that you can physically see from the start point to now. So 5 weeks of dieting. And I think, it's fair to say now there's a pretty definitive difference between the two pictures. You can easily see where conditions coming in around the chest, around that midsection, around the obliques and lats, delts and arms popping a little bit more. On that side shot, you can see a lot more detail in the midsection, the obliques here. Again, and that's sort of the striations across the midpoint of my pec. Triceps popping out a little bit more as well. So there's a lot of change going on in these pictures, which I'm really, really happy with. And again, looking at these comparisons, from this sort of front post shot here, much tighter in the waist, upper body probably looks a little bit fuller as a result of that waist being a little bit smaller. And then on this side chest pose here, there's a massive difference in how the chest is sitting, in the delt, in the arms and everything like that. And my big goal for this past year, the 13 months of the gaining phase, was to build my delts and arms, because they've always been a difficult area for me to grow. And you know what, I'm pretty happy with the progress I've made in them. I feel like they are coming on quite nicely, and I think another 12-month long gaining phase that I'm planning on doing next, I think they'll be in a pretty nice position by the end of that. So physique wise, I'm happy. We've got one more set of check-in photos to go, and then we are all boxed off for this diet. And actually, you know, looking at these pictures, I could probably do another 6 weeks and then be photo shoot ready. So it's nice to know that I'm probably 10 to 12 weeks away from photo shoot condition. Arguably less if I really wanted to step things up and do more steps and more cardio and push a bit harder. But like I said from the start, I've been happy with how I've been pushing and the rate of fat loss that I've been seeing across the last 5 weeks. 1 week left to go on this plan. The last few days now for me as of recording this, but in the next video I'll be reviewing the full week and the full 6 weeks to give it a bit of a wrap up and a bit of an end point to this softer shredded mini series. But that's been it. All I can say at the minute is hunger's still high, cravings are getting higher. I think that's because I know I'm coming towards the end. So sitting good, happy with how we're doing. No changes for this final week. We are just going to be pushing on as normal and seeing what else can come off before we finish this 6 weeks. So let's do it. So that has now just been in the fridge for a little while, so it goes like nice and stodgy. All that is left to do to this very complicated dish that you wouldn't have been able to figure out how to do yourself is add a bit of fruit. Frozen raspberries and some frozen strawberries. 50 grams, of frozen raspberries, and then as well 50 grams of frozen strawberries. Separate them out just for extra special effect. And the last secret ingredient I add is some of this. A little bit of cinnamon just over the top like that. And that is, oh bollocks, that could stay in the edit, that went wrong. That's it, that is the bowl of oats. Now I generally will then leave it on the side for 5 or 10 minutes just for these to defrost a little bit, or if I'm in a rush I'll defrost them first, but for the sake of the vlog. That is the bowl of protein oats. So that is it. That is how I make my world famous Proats. Like I said, I have these twice a day, every single day, whether I'm dieting or whether I'm gaining. Now with how hungry I am, I'm going to wrap this up because there is only so long I can sit and look at that. So that was week 5 of Softer Shredded. That is where we're at the minute in this final week. Now there'll be one more vlog in this series to wrap up the entire thing, have a look at the full result, have a look at the full process and go from there. But yeah, with that being said, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. I should say this at the start, shouldn't I? I should really get better at this. So I should say this at the start. I'll edit this, I'll put this in the start. Like, subscribe to the channel, all that stuff. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next one.